Travis Kelce hasn't been practicing. He's down weight, but I'm not scared. I'm going to tell you why this is a good thing for the Chiefs in 2025 today on Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome in, folks. Thanks for making us your first listen today. Check out another Locked On show for your next one. And don't miss the rest of the week. Like, sub, hit the bell, get all sorted out for that. Matt Derrick's going to be with us tomorrow to give us a look at the first day of mandatory minicamp. I'm sure there'll be plenty of things to discuss, and we will get into all of it, just like we will today with my man, Chris Clark from KC Chiefs Corner. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting, as well as NFL 33 and RGR Football. Check us out on all of our other outlets. Check out another Locked On show for your next one, because we're free all the time, everywhere, everything you can think of. And then you can get that much more. If you want breaking news or something does happen, you're going to get it at 816-357-8781. You got to go sign up for it. You everydayers, we appreciate you, and we know that you're already signed up. You guys want to join them. And the locos, you can get over there. Watch this space. That's coming up. The news, and there was some from Media Day of all things that has me maybe grasping for straws or maybe just generally in a good mood and a positive attitude. We'll find out. But before we get to that, we will unlock and take a look at what unlocking this offense might look like. And is it a possibility that there is a difference in 2025? But we start the top of the show. One of the GOATs, if you guys have not seen any of that gear, GOAT to GOAT connection is my theme of the year. And Travis Kelce's had a lot of ups and downs. There are concerns about him. I personally don't share them, and I'll give you the counterpoint to why. But Chris, are you concerned, or what are the concerns?
I think there's just some questions. I mean, Jeremy Fowler from ESPN said he's down 25 pounds. If you look at what his listed weight was, it was 250. That would put him at 225 if that's what he played at last year. That would be extremely thin for a tight end. I don't think he played at 250 last year. I'm not sure where I would put him. But I think if you're looking at just in general, if let's say he played at 265, 240 for a guy that's going to play in line some is still awfully light. So to me, that would be my concern. But if they're going to be playing him like they normally have most of the time, and he's going to be split out wide, it's not going to be an issue. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal, but it's interesting to hear that he's down 25 pounds, because the other part of the reality is that there have been pictures of taking a Travis Kelce because of who he's with. I mean, the reality is he's with Taylor Swift. Everybody wants to see him. I didn't see it being down 25 pounds, but hey, congratulations if that's the case. It sounds like he could be in some of the best shape of his career.
Yeah, and if he is, then it could make a huge flourish for what we think could be the end of the career. Patrick Mahomes doesn't seem to agree with us, but we think that it might be. But that said, I agree with you. I think he played heavier than that last year. And even if he's at 240, I think the presence that we're going to talk about of what the rest of the pass catcher group looks like, that's coming up in the next segment. But I think that makes it a little bit more so that the inline aspect of his game isn't as much a concern as it has been the last two seasons in particular. I don't think that they're going to rely on Jared Wiley to come back. We'll see what happens. Maybe he's going to be able to contribute. I would put him as probably the best option, along with Kupp, who I think has a chance to make the practice squad, as being somebody that can line up as a Y and actually get something done. I'm not convinced of that. Jay Brenningstool, for all of you that are in love already, I like him as well. He's a Travis clone. He is not a Y. Yep. He's not going to be in there grinding out against defensive ends. I will tell you that. But
which I was just going to say, which actually makes me wonder how they're going to stack this roster, because while Kelce doesn't play on the line a lot, he does play on the line some, or at least he has in the past. And it's been something that they've used, especially when you look at the shovel pass things near the goal line. They line him up in the goal as an inline tight end. So you have to wonder, is that going to change what they do on the roster elsewhere to make up for not having a guy that can play in line at that tight end position? And maybe a guy like a Carson Steele is able to stay on the roster because of it.
I love that I didn't even have to say his name, because I'm
just saying. I mean, I'm just putting two and two together. I mean, you look at it and it's like, okay, generally speaking, their tight ends aren't going to be the type that are going to be in line. And it's fine if you want to go that route, but you're going to have some situations where you're going to want somebody on the line with that size and has that ability. And if Travis is really close to 240, I don't think that's some place you want him, especially considering his age and you don't want him being taken advantage of, getting chipped in that scenario either. So
Yeah.
lots of different ways
you
you
don't
can
need
go
to
with
see
it.
him out physical, that's for sure, right?
Right.
Now, the other concern that I have heard is that he hasn't been terribly present at OTAs. I expect that to change for mandatory minicamp. I, for one, couldn't care less. Travis Kelce needs to get his head on right. And I think the distraction that maybe the Taylor Tour was last year seems to have been relegated this season. I need him to enjoy his downtime and take some of it, because let's be honest, last 3 seasons straight, it's been 20 games a season, and it's been, jam-packed off seasons, 1,000 commercials a summer. Like, I need him to be rested, right? Yeah. So, like, I'm okay with the missing of the OTAs, especially when you have Wiley coming back. You want to be able to go to no gray a little bit more, and Brittany Stool deserves some reps, as does Cup. So that part doesn't bother me. Does it bother you?
Yes. And it bothers me not necessarily for him not being there, because I don't think that he needs it necessarily near as much as, especially if this is his last year, him having the opportunity to be around those guys and impart his knowledge is a limited resource. And to me, having him there at OTAs would have been beneficial, even if he's not out there running routes and doing things, because he can be in meetings, he can talk about different things, he can talk about technique and all of that. And yes, I understand there are coaches there for that, but you and I actually had somebody ask us who makes the Chiefs Mount Rushmore, and Travis Kelce makes the Chiefs Mount Rushmore, and I would think that he easily makes the tight end Mount Rushmore, which really is what we're talking about here.
Yeah, I mean, half of Mount Rushmore for tight ends in the history of this league are Chiefs. That's a fact. It's not a question. And I know Mark Bavaro fans are losing their minds right now. Sorry. Travis Kelce and Tony G are there. There's no question. So, like you said, he does have an effect on everybody else. But I will say, in order of acclimation reps, as I call them in OTAs, I think the younger guys get as much as they want. And I don't think it leaves a lasting mark. He will have the leadership here in the next 3 days. He will be at training camp. They will have something to play off of, to learn from, to adapt to. And so it doesn't concern me a ton. What does concern me is taking that and making it a part of an offense that is drastically more explosive than it was last year. And I think they have a chance to do that. We're talking that next. There's nothing like the atmosphere of the NBA playoffs. Every bucket, defensive stop, and moment feels huge. It's electric in those arenas. And with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. I use it all over the place for every sports, every event I can get there, I do. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets last minute or not with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, all you got to do is create an account, redeem our code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. It's last minute tickets, it's lowest prices, and it's guaranteed. Now, if you need more content, make sure you check out the rest of the Locked On Podcast Network. You check out KC Chiefs Corner. You go over to NFL 33 and RGR Football. We got something for you, whatever style or format that you're looking for. And a lot of them are going to be about the coming season, as they should be. I'm very excited about this. And it may be the visual that Media Day gave me. I like to see wide receivers emulating their quarterback. To see Hollywood and Xavier with their haircut, like high and tight, looking like Mahomes, who doesn't have his normal hairstyle. Like, to me, it signifies we're throwing off all this distraction, all this extra stuff. Like, we are focused on what we're doing, getting back to the plan that was there last year to have a force of an offense in this league in 2025.
And we've talked about it. I mean, the big thing and the real exciting thing for me when you start looking at this wide receiver core is, if Hollywood Brown is able to stay healthy this season, you have Rashee Rice coming back, who looks like, at least from what we've seen in the videos, looks like he is close to, I'd say, at least 90% health. He looks like he's able to move. He looks like he's able to do cuts. Obviously, it's going to change. We'll see how that gets to training camp and what we see in minicamp. But the reality is you have those two guys who are very good wide receivers in their own right. And then you have a guy in Xavier Worthy who we just saw start hitting stride at the end of last season. That's the exciting part about this is you have those three guys already in line, ready to go, and you bring in a kid like Jalen Royals, who's going to be another one that can be a burner and could take the top off the defense.
And he's got the build for it too, right? Like for all of Rashee Rice's explosiveness and missing time and wanting that aspect of the game, he does carry a lot of shield with him, right? I won't say he's as built as Tyreek is, but Tyreek was undersized, but he had that muscle mass to go with it. And I like that about Royals because I could see an option in this offense where he does some of that dirty work. Maybe some of the things that Rashee did the initial season as what would likely be the fourth target on the field. If you have Kelce out there, especially a lighter Kelce, with those three, I think that puts him as the rookie, as well as whoever ends up getting the most run. I'm guessing it's Noah Gray as tight end too, to be the beneficiaries of what defense have done in the past to stop this offense. There's going to be options. I don't think that's the end of it, but I do think if I was going to place a bet on who might step up the highest from where they were last season, my guess is it's either going to be the rookie that has no last year, or it's going to be Noah Gray. What do you think?
You know, I'm gonna take this a different direction, and I'm gonna say that I think that when they start looking at what they're going to do on offense, it's going to be a lot different because I think that they're going to be moving people around. I think, you know, we look at what Travis Kelce has done, and generally speaking, he's split out. He's played almost more of a wide receiver role. I expect that to be even more so this year in 2025. But I also think that they're going to start using Xavier Worthy in packages in the backfield. I think that they're going to move him around and they're going to see what they can do and get him in different matchups. And it's going to be a lot of fun because you saw them put him in the backfield at times last year, but it was very sparing. But I think that they're going to take that and they're going to build on it because the reality is one of the reasons you couldn't is because you needed him to play wide receiver. If they stay healthy this year, you're not going to need that near as much, and it's going to give you the ability to move him around and use him as a chess piece, put him in the backfield, try to get him matched up against a linebacker, do different things, and I think that's what's going to be fun about this offense. And you can take another guy in maybe, you know, Elijah Mitchell or a Kareem Hunt and split them out as a wide receiver instead of having them in the backfield and have Worthy in the backfield instead. So lots of different ways you can go about it, and it seems like it's going to be simple, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun with this Chiefs offense this year.
I think so as well. And you kind of hit the nail on the head of where I was going as well. Not just Elijah Mitchell. Rashard Smith is a Tyreek Hill in reverse. He's moving from wide receiver to running back. He can easily split back out. You can play chess matches against every defensive coordinator in this league to try to find the best matchup you can, and you will get it. And I think there are ways to do all kinds of funky things with that. You know they want to throw some tricks in there. But just the things that we used to see Tyreek do with getting the ball out of the backfield, with the pop passes, I could see that role coming down to Xavier this year. And I would love to say that he looks thicker to me, that he looks like he can take a hit a little bit better, but I don't see that. I do like the high and tight haircut, but I don't see a whole lot more beef on his frame.
Well, the nice thing is though, when you look at him, like I was scared that he wasn't going to be able to hold up for a whole season. Mm-hmm. He held up for more than we ever thought that he'd be playing last year. So I'm not near as worried about it because I look at this and going, okay, to me right now, Kansas City's probably 5 wide receivers deep that they can feel pretty comfortable with getting between 200 and 600 or 700 snaps. I don't know what the high end of that is. But when you start looking at it, you have Juju that can go out there and play. You have, Jalen Royals is going to be out there. We just don't know how much, but they're going to spread him in early, very little, and then he's going to start playing more and more as the year goes on. To me, that means that you're going to be able to spread out when Worthy's going to be on the field, and he's not going to have to take some of the hits that he has taken in the past. But I don't know that it's really that big of a concern. He stayed a lot healthier than I expected at his weight last season, and it was great to see.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And between the bulk that Rashee carries, and hey, his power clean looks fine to me. Like he's moving through that tibial plateau injury with his lower body being explosive and bringing power. He's not overloading it. A lot of folks thought that he had lifted too much or whatever. I got several comments on social media about that. But the little clip that the Chiefs put out with him actually training, he looks good. He looks explosive. I think Royals can look like that in a year from now, but in the meantime can contribute. If Xavier can stay healthy, that's good. The question comes down to me, If Hollywood can stay injury free, this offense will look the way it's designed to look, in my opinion.
Well, and the other thing that I didn't mention about Xavier that I should have is when you look at his explosiveness, when you look at his speed, and you look at how his game is, for him to be able to stay healthy and not really deal with hamstring issues and the soft tissue stuff that you would expect players like that to have issues with, that's what really came down. Yeah, you worry about the hits, but you worry about the change of speed, you worry about the change of direction, you worry about hamstring issues. Didn't ever seem to have that issue. That's a positive sign. And you start talking about all the different guys on this offense. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell, Brashard Smith if he's on the roster, Noah Gray, Travis Kelce. Then you talk about the wide receivers, and we haven't even talked about a guy in Jared Wiley who looks like he's probably going to start the year on the PUP list, and maybe somebody that can come back in maybe November, December for this team and be somebody that can help them in the playoffs. But that would give them a huge red zone threat that they may not have most of the regular season. And all of it is just way different than where they were this time last year, right? Well, maybe not this time last year, but at least middle of last season when they were missing their two top wide receivers, and they have to go in and bring in a guy like DeAndre Hopkins who doesn't give them anything like what the players that they have on the field right now are going to.
Agreed. Yeah, and that it's just a different way about it. And there were pluses and there were minuses. We didn't see DeAndre Hopkins really adapt to this offense. You have to think that the younger players might have a better chance at that. We're going to have to see how it all comes together. But having them all intact for week one is job one, along with protecting Patrick. And I think that's how you unlock this offense. But there's a couple things that have to happen for that. We have our eyes on some things. Watch This Space is next. Now I watch a lot, and I am not afraid to put the tinfoil hat on. I know you guys know that. So we thank you for riding along with me. Chris is your dose of reality most days, so check him out on his site as well. The big thing for me was everyone's very concerned, and I am, of course, as well, with the Trey Smith situation. Yep. It seems more acrimonious than it should be for a guy that signed a tender very quickly, in my opinion. And is about to have a big payday no matter what. Like, there's nothing that can avoid that. He should be well off this season. I was surprised, honestly, that he showed up for media day, and pleasantly so. Should I just throw that aside and smile and not put too much into that?
I don't know that you shouldn't put too much into it. I think that it was impressive for him to show up. I didn't expect him to be there for media day. Honestly, I wasn't sure if he would show up for minicamp. Like, I understand it makes a lot of sense for him to be there because there's no reason to go through the fines. But at the same time, we kind of also talked about the fact that he's probably better off not actually practicing. So do you really want him there because he's going to be a little bit of a distraction? And you don't want him out there because you have so much tied up into him already. You don't want to risk it to a sense. But at the same time, I mean, having a guy that has been a very good player for you and showing up and being able to get snaps in between two guys that he's already got a ton of experience with. I mean, there's not a ton that he's going to gain from it. So I can see both ways on this, but for me, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, well, if Trey Smith doesn't show up, Kansas City can write him a check for an extra $100,000 and offset the penalty. So it doesn't really matter, but he's there, which means he's bought in. And it also probably means that maybe they're a little bit closer than I think a lot of us thought they probably are.
Yeah. As we record this, it is the 16th. We have till the 15th of next month. Can't remember how many days are in this month, but it's pretty quick. It's less than 30 here, folks. We are on our way.
There are 30 days in June.
Okay. See, so my math works out. It's great. Other things to be keeping an eye on. I'm not worried, but I am honing in on Christian Fulton. He needs to be CB2 for this team this year. He needs to be able to be in that role to function in the speculates defense. I think mentally he can do that. I think physically he has the skills to do that. But sitting out in early spring makes me a little bit nervous.
I can't say I blame you. It's interesting, but at the same time, I'm sitting here going, is this a huge concern? Because if he's ready and raring to go when training camp starts, that's all that really is going to matter. I'd rather him get right and get, whatever he's he's dealing with taken care of now. Give it the rest that he needs and be, 100% ready to go when training camp starts. And hopefully then you don't have to worry about it. He really has been pretty good when he's in the NFL, when you talk about the number of games he's played. So I'm not too worried about it from that aspect either. But yeah, you absolutely wish that he was out there. You wish that he was getting reps with, the guys that he's going to be playing with, and that, he was getting some chemistry with those guys. But the other side of that, the flip side of it is that you have a scenario where you can get some of those other guys that are young guys some extra snaps that they wouldn't get otherwise. And, that's beneficial to them as well.
Yeah, Joshua Williams and Najee Johnson need them.
Yep.
They got to prove something. And I know Najee had a pretty good week last week, made a couple of plays, and maybe he's on the upswing. I hope so, because I think physically at this point, we've heard nothing about him doing any kind of re-injury, and I think the faith in that leg should be back. It's about playing with that attitude and actually showing that. And I pull for Najee Johnson because I thought he got himself in a situation with the injury that just was too difficult to come back from. I'm not sure that playing or trying to push through it was the right answer. So I hope that he can do that, but he certainly needs the reps.
Yeah, he definitely does. And this is his last chance to really get a chance at a decent contract. And that's the reality of this. And this goes back to what our friend Travis Kelce always said: contract year is never defeated. So the same thing with Joshua Williams. They both those guys need this. Jaylen Watson is another one that needs this. And to an extent, even though it's not technically a contract year, to an extent, a guy like Trey McDuffie does as well.
Yeah, I mean, for his part, yes, there's a fifth-year option that's already been exercised, folks. If you missed that earlier in the spring, both he and George Karlaftis, their fifth years are exercised. They're on the books. Doesn't mean you can't write a contract and roll that back in, right? That option is an option. If you get to a contract extension before that, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, capologist, they can roll that in and it becomes part of owed money. It's not new money, right?
Say that again.
It is part of the existing contract as a fifth-year option because it's been exercised. It wouldn't be new money, but they could roll it into that amount, right?
That is correct. Generally speaking, the way that those deals are going to work is that you're going to have a fifth-year option that is going to be the baseline for that year, regardless of whether or not you're agreeing to a new deal. The way that would generally work is that the signing bonus is going to offset the fifth-year option amount. So even if you're going to, and I don't know, I'm just throwing a number out there, and I'll make it an easy number. Let's just say it's $25 million that they want for the compensation for the year. They take the fifth-year option, they'd subtract out whatever's left, and that would be the signing bonus or the roster bonus, depending on when it gets signed for that year. That's how that would work to get them to the $25 million a year compensation. I don't know if that's what he's going to end up getting, but I'm just trying to use nice, easy numbers.
Sure. And I appreciate that for those of us that don't do math on our feet that well. Thank you. Take it easy on me. I think really the performance on the offensive line is going to be critical for the offense. Everything we talked about in the last talk is critical to getting back out front of this and not having 2-point games and having to block field goals for wins, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But really the thing that makes the longevity of the season is probably how well the secondary is going to hold up. Because some teams are going to run at them. Chiefs don't care. Steve Speculates said on New Heights just last week, somebody's going to run on us and we're going to be okay. Like that is their attitude, much as we theorized.
To be fair about that, though, if you look at the way Kansas City's roster is, are you going to really be concerned about being run on? I'm not. They have a roster that should be able to put up 30 to 40 points a game. Like offensively, if they stay healthy, they should be able to put 30 to 40 points a game up easy.
Yep.
If their offensive line gels like it should, and the real question is going to be the left guard position. I know there's questions at left tackle, but I think that they're at least going to be at least average to above average at that position, regardless of what happens there. So the question is left guard going to be taken care of? If all that is done, they have the roster that can put up 30 to 40 points a game, and they should be able to do it relatively quickly. Are they going to be taking the top off the defense? Are they going to be throwing the ball deep and going air raid again? I don't think so. but they have enough pieces to be able to move the ball quickly down the field and score points. So even if they can get run on, which is where I was going with all of that, it shouldn't matter. So when Spagnuolo says it, I agree with him. Look at what your offense is. If you had a quarterback that wasn't Patrick Mahomes or wasn't a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, then you're a little bit more concerned about whether you get run on, because then you worry about having limited chances on offense.
And now, like last year illustrated, you got to keep them healthy too. And that's the only question here with the receivers that make that portion of the game that much more difficult. I, for one, like a lighter Travis Kelce. I like the 3-by-1 formations. I want those back. I think this trio opposite Travis Kelce gives you options that you can take advantage of. I don't care who it is, because especially if you're using a speed back on third down, there isn't a defense. I don't care what the Eagles have to say. I don't care about anybody else in this league. There isn't a defense that can stick with both Elijah Mitchell or Rashad Smith if he's out there amongst that trio of receivers and Travis Kelce. I think they have the advantage somewhere on that field no matter what.
You want to go crazy? I'm not sold that they're not going to go 3 wide receivers and Worthy in the backfield with Travis Kelce on the field. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be a regular offense. I'm just saying I'm not going to be shocked if Andy Reid doesn't run it out there a time or two, because it's going to give you things, and Worthy is capable of playing that position in the backfield enough to make you feel like he has the threat to run it.
Yeah. Make defensive coordinators nervous. That's the name of the game. Folks, we'd like to know what you think. What are you watching? What are you concerned about? Does Travis make you nervous? Are you concerned at all? Or are you just ready to see him try to get back and have a flourish here in 2025 and make the most of it? We'd like to know. Leave your comments down below on YouTube. Make sure that you get over. Follow us on all the platforms. If you're here on YouTube, you can listen on audio too, just in case you miss it or you're in the car or something like that. Make sure that you're subscribed on the audio platform as well. You everydayers, we do it for you, and we appreciate you. You guys can become one of them by supporting us on getting connected over at 816-357-8781. We do a ton. Tomorrow, Matt Derrick's going to give us the breakdown on what he saw live later in the week. We're going to see where those position battles take us and what's next on the roster. So we will have it for you all week long like we always do. We appreciate you being with us today. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.